And there we are. All right. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Let's see, we got DJ's in the house, Dale from Ohio, JJ's here, Paul Andre, Janet's here, Kathy's here. Welcome, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope your week has been good. Here we are. It is Friday already. Time flies when you're having fun. So, just a quick reminder, and I'll do another reminder later. I will be live streaming on Sunday at 8 o'clock. So just putting it out there ahead of time. So excuse me, but yeah. So that's the plan anyway. We're gonna live stream Sunday at 8. So obviously this is a weekend get together. So we've had some people came down early working on projects and running out and getting things that they need and trying to get things going, and that's part of that's the funny part that I think a lot of people don't understand, as far as when you have the different projects that you have to do. This is not like when you live really close to anything. um, you have to drive and it takes a while to get there, so every trip is like, okay, here we go. But that's all right, that these things happen. Like I said, just trying to work on things, get things squared away, do what we can do. All right. So before we jump into anything, I do want to remind everybody that this is a very family friendly oriented channel. I would ask you all to please be decent in the chat. No racism, no nastiness. If you cannot abide by those very simple, easy rules, those awesome people lit up in blue with the blue wrenches will boot you out of here, because we are not going to tolerate it. So, but yeah, so that's, um, any questions that you have for me with the live stream, I would ask you please, all cap locks. Really stands out to me more if you do it that way. And so just letting you know ahead of time, it makes it easier. So, all right. Anyhow, so let's get rocking, right? So obviously the title, it says, "What should you be doing now?" DJ says I fly a drone over as a property. Yeah, several times a day when I go out and check for eggs. I've seen drones out here though, which is kind of funny. I'm like, hey, whatever floats out, If people feel like that's what they got to do, then that's what they got to do. But anyway, the live stream says, "What should? Well, let's talk about what you should be doing now. Get organized." Okay. Good night, everybody. No, I'm only kidding. But you should be getting organized. You definitely should be getting organized. Uh, I think that and I've talked about prepping from every angle, sideways, whatever stuff like that to do, what you should be doing and things that you should be planning and stuff like that. But I think one of the most important things is having a plan in place. That's going to be really, really important. Again, what you have to understand, you have to study human nature. You have to study people. You have to look at situations and go, okay, what like we all. An example would be, not everybody does this either, of course, but you have estate planning, right? When I die, this is my wishes. This is what I want to have done. Um, you know, I'm I bought the burial plot, paid for my funeral, and again, like I said, not everybody does that. They don't always do that, but that's all planning. So if it's already all written out, you have a will. A lot of people have a will. Some people don't have a will, but again, it's a game plan. This is my wishes. This is what I want. In a true SHTF situation, panic is going to be rampant, absolutely rampant. It's going to be, people are going to be losing their minds, not knowing what to do, not knowing where to go, not having any kind of plan whatsoever in place. So I think a really important first step that you should have, and it's like we're going to use some examples of this is having a game plan, knowing what you're going to do. So again, if you have a family, you got kids, you know, be they adult kids or not adult kids, if they're in school, and you know you have a job, the wife's got a job. Most people have two jobs today. That's just that's a reality. That's unfortunate part of our society today. Everybody's got to work. So the first thing you should be doing is going, okay, SHTF hits the fan and we're at work. What are we going to do? Know exactly what your plan is. Let your kids know, especially if they're old enough, that you leave. You don't sit there in the government officials and school officials are saying, okay, everybody come here. We're going to congregate here. It's time to jet, right? You know what you got to do. And I think that that's important to know that so they don't have to think. So if they already know, all right, if XYZ happens, this is what I'm going to do. This is where I'm going to go. Here's a meetup spot. Have a meetup spot part way if that's the case, or just everybody gets back home and you go from there. And, that planning like that ahead of time, when something happens, you don't have to think, oh my God, what am I going to do with the kids, and what are we going to do? And panic ensues, and you're not going to make rational decisions. And what you want to do, truly, in a true SHTF situation, is think clearly, make rational decisions. So if you already have a game plan in place of where are we going to meet, what are we doing? Do we need to make any last minute stops along the way? Hopefully, you don't, because that's not what you want to do. You got you what you have to understand in that type of a situation, people are going to be like, "Oh my God, I got to do this, I got to do that. I'm going to do go here, go there." It is going to be chaos, and what you want to try to do, if at all possible, is avoid the chaos and craziness and people acting insane at that time frame. You want to be calm. Do what you got to do, take care of your business. Hopefully, you have everything as part of your game plan in place. One of the things that we're doing here, you know, is getting the organization squared away, getting all our ducks lined up, being as ready as we possibly can be to get the things done that we need to get done. So, an example would be, we got Roy's building came in last week. So, he wants to get the different things in place. Now, we don't have all of, he had to order a couple sections of the triple wall for his wood stove. Okay. And so we had to order that. And so that's not going to be here. So we're probably not going to get his wood stove set up until everything is here. Now, once everything is here, then we can get his wood stove set up and all that type of stuff. So, but if it's already here, so here's the having things on site that you don't have to worry about. Oh my God, what am I going to get? What do I need to have there? Even if you don't have it assembled, if it's here, you're going to have all kinds of time when the time comes. We're going to have nothing but time. So if you have your wood stove here, your piping, everything on site, then it's a matter of, okay, all I got to do is get there. I have that squared away. I have, extra things that I need. Obviously, a lot of people, you're thinking of the basics to start out with, like with a building. You're going to want to get it wired, right? You're going to want to get it insulated. You're going to want to, get your walls up, get it insulated underneath, get your ceiling insulated, get up your vapor barrier, all those basic first thing steps. But at the same time, you also have to think of, okay, so I got this building here. I need to get this stuff done, but what other stuff do I need to have there? The key, and this is my opinion, of course, when JJ said, Ed, the planning and the practice runs will help alleviate the stress of the situation. Absolutely. Yeah, because if you don't have to think about it, you just have to do. And that's key. You don't have to think. You just got, okay, this is what I got to do. And you just do it. Panic and everything can happen later, and it's going to happen. But, like I said, again, the key is getting the things that you need on site. What we're trying to do here, you always want to think, you want to think worst case, right? So, worst case would be what? I got all these people coming from different directions, and now they're not able to drive, right? That's the worst case scenario. So you go, okay, I got to get to the bug out location. So what that does, worst case scenario, you pack what you can carry on your back, or if you get a bicycle, excuse me, and a cart, and you're on your way. Couple things to remember with that. If you are on foot, you're only going to go as fast as the slowest person in your group that's traveling with you. So if you have, you know, a couple of 25-year-olds, you got a 40-year-old, maybe 50-year-old, and then a couple of 60, 70-year-olds, the 60, 70-year-olds are not going to be able to go as fast, obviously, as the 25-year-olds. So you're going to go at a slower pace, and you're not going to do as many miles as you would like to try to do. Because unless you're planning on leaving people behind, like I said, again, you're only going to go as fast as the slowest person in your group. The other thing you got to remember, too, we are not used to hiking as a society. Thank you. I appreciate the licks, baby. Um, you're only going to go, like I said, your best day is going to be your first day. So let's say that first day you make 10 miles, and we're just throwing numbers out, okay? Oh, I'll go farther than that. Great, fantastic. Go as far as you want. But that first day is going to be your best day, because day number two, you're going to wake up, you're going to be tired, you're going to be sore because you're not used to walking, right? Unless you're out there hiking every day, folks, you're not used to doing it, especially if you're carrying any kind of gear, camping equipment, a weapon, extra ammo, all kinds, water, the whole 9 yards. So, again, your first day is going to be your best day. It's going to take time to get to where you want to go. But the key is, here's the key. The key is hope. That is the key. If you know all I have to do is get to location B from location A, and I'm going to be around people that are going to have my back, I'm going to be safe, I have stuff on site that I'm ready to go, so I'm not walking in there with just what I have on my back and in my pack. You already have it pre-staged, ready to go, and all you have to worry about is getting there. Without hope, we have nothing. That's a fact. If you don't have hope, you're going to see a tremendous amount of people bugging out, but with no game plan of where they're going to go, what they're going to do, how they're going to get there. Again, one of the biggest things that I would suggest, yeah, having a car and hoping that you can pack up your car and get there that way. That's great. That's ideal. That you could pack up a car, excuse me, and that you could load up your trailer and have all kinds of more stuff to bring down. Ideally, perfect, great way to go. That's not always a reality. So having a bicycle, even if you have, like, if you guys saw those like little buggies that they have that you put the kids in behind a bicycle. It's got like the three wheels, and it's got the bar that hooks right up to the bicycle. You can carry 100 pounds of gear on that, and then get on a bicycle, and you can go a lot farther than you could go walking. Even if you're going slow on a bicycle, you're going to make a lot better time if you can stay on the main road. So there's the other part of it. When you're traveling, do you have laminated maps? And I'm not nobody anymore carries maps. Realistically, a lot of people don't. Why? Because we have these dandy phones here, and we can just pull it up on the phone, and we can go MapQuest, and shows us exactly how we got to go. But if you know how to read a map, right, you can look for alternative routes, and ways to go and circumvent and avoid largely populated areas because there's going to be trouble. There's going to be big trouble. And so you want to try to avoid people as much as you possibly can because you don't want to have problems. So if that means that you lay low somewhere during the day, sleep, have somebody always on watch, and then travel at night when other people are sleeping. You know what I mean? So you're trying to avoid your problems if you can. I mean, there's so many aspects of it that go into place, but the key, again, having a plan is going to be your number one thing. Knowing what to do so you don't have to think. You're going to just do it automatically. That's number one. But having that game plan of where are we going, what are we going to do, when we get there, what do we have? So, with everybody getting buildings in here, and a lot of buildings have come into the homestead this year, and there's a lot that has to be done with that, insulation and wiring, and who's going to, how you're going to get it set up, and all those type of things, which is important. But having the necessities staged on site, a good example would be Mark has a bunch of stuff staged here already for projects that he wants to do or is in the process of doing. So, you know, um, that is one of the things for him. He goes, okay, well, now I don't have to worry about bringing all this stuff here. It's already here, and I can just work on it. I can come down, and obviously, then it frees up for him to bring different things down. Um, you know, I will. I will tell you one of the things we have. Well, a couple. Obviously, if you guys have been watching the channel at all this year, other than getting buildings in here, which we've done a lot this year, we've started going with our rain catchment, getting totes in here, food grade totes, and we just added 22 more. Came down yesterday. Jimmy brought. Everybody said, "I want this number of totes." Uh, Bud is able to get them where he's at outside of Syracuse, and he can buy them in bulk. And so he just said, "Okay, what do we need to get?" He gets them. Jimmy takes his trailer. He goes up to New York. Jimmy's down in Pennsylvania. He goes up to New York, picks him up, brings him back to his house, and then he drove down here, with those totes. Excuse me, got here yesterday, and he's already taken all those totes and staged them where the people that bought the totes, where their buildings are, so that we can get things set up to be able to do rain catchment. Like example would be Rob had I don't know, I think he just bought a couple more, but he had four totes, and I think he bought two more if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, but I know he's got four totes already spray painted there. He also already has his gutters down here, not up yet, but he's got them down here. And, so being able to say, okay, well, this is here. Now we can set this up and we're going to be able to collect more water. Hold on one second. Sandy, I'm trying to do a live stream here. No, you're good. You're good. Are you? All right. No, you're good. All right. Bye. All right. So that's one of the people in the group. So Robert said I had three and bought one more. Okay, so yeah, there you go. So he had three already, and he bought one more. So now he'll have, just for his building down there, he'll have 11,000 gallon capability of collecting rainwater. So as he works on the different things that he's working on, like this, he replaced all the windows. And he was, pulled all the trim off, replaced those windows, sealed them up today, and he had to go buy more trim because the other trim was kind of garbage. So he went and bought more trim. Is going to get that up. So again, so there you now you would think, oh, I got to make a run to the store, right? So one run to the store down here, you're looking at 3 hours. So much time to drive there, do the shopping that you want to do, and then drive back. Because we are out in the middle of nowhere, which is exactly where we want to be. So, but anyway, it's having things staged, ready to go, so that you can go to your bug out location, know that you're going to have stuff there, and that you're going to be ready to do what you got to do. That's important. That is important. And again, having that hope and say, okay, as long as we can get there, right, we're going to be safe. That's key. People don't think about safety, but safety is going to be key. Also, being around people that I know are going to have my back, that's also really important. Again, a lot of preparation. You have to really sit down. I would highly recommend this to you guys, right? Sit down, write things out. Where am I at? This is a level that I'm at. Where do I want to be? How normal do I want things to be after an event? After, let's say, country goes completely sideways, how normal do I want things to be? Now, we have a couple of different members right now that are planning on putting in very substantial more solar than I have solar down here. Okay. Which is great. The more solar we have down here, the better off we can be, because if Rob has, like, he's got the solar generator battery, right? So if he says to me, Ed, can I plug in and charge up my solar system battery off your system, right? So that I can have power for the next 12 or 16 hours, right? No big deal. Come on, man, plug it in. We're ready to go. That's also part of that collective and working together and that teamwork. Teamwork is so important in making sure you're around the kind of people that you want to be around. That's really important as well. So, again, you have to have plans. You got to know what you're going to do. Sit down, write things up, because if you don't write it out, you're going to forget something. Um, this I would highly recommend if you can do it as well. Like I said, I've done so much research through the years. If you have a bug out location intention somewhere, if somebody is living full time at said location, that is a bonus. Why is that a bonus, right? Things go sideways if the locals, right, know that you have this place up in the woods and you got a cabin up there, and you're an outsider for say, and they know you got stuff up there and it's stocked and things go sideways, they may go, hey, let's go to that cabin. Well, if somebody's living there full time, that's not as easy to go, hey, let's go to that cabin. You realize that you're going to be like, okay, we got to be smart about this. So if you have somebody living there full time, somebody's going to be there. There's a presence. People are going to be less likely to go and try to loot whatever you have there before you even get there. So again, um, when I did my research, and one of the biggest things that stood out to me, when I was looking at everything when I first got going with prepping and stuff like that, one of the biggest things that stood out was, if you can live at your bug out location full time, then all of your stuff is there. You don't have to worry about getting stuff there because you're already there. So, I mean, SHTF could happen, folks, in the middle of the night. We could go to bed tonight. Everything's beautiful. Everything normal as normal can be, and you could wake up tomorrow and you turn that light switch on and it don't work, and you're like, well, that's kind of weird, what's going on? And you pick up your phone and you turn your phone on, or if you had it on or whatever, and you look at your phone and there's nothing there, and you can't get online and you can't make any phone calls, and whatever the case may be. uh, it could be that quick, in my opinion. I'm not saying it's going to be that quick, but it could be that quick. And so, you know it will be, like I said, not panicking. Panic is the enemy. Fear can be healthy to a degree, but panic is bad. You do not want to panic. Initially, I think everybody inside is going to be like, holy crap, holy crap. I can't believe that this just happened, right? That's going to be the end of everybody. But when that happens, we all have that reaction. Now, if you have a plan and you know what you're going to do, you go, okay, holy crap, this is it. Let's go. Let's do what we got to do. The biggest thing is the quicker you head out to your bug out location, okay, the better your chances of getting there. So let's say, I'll give you an example. 8 o'clock at night, it's a Tuesday night, and you're seeing all the signs and it don't look good. And there's chaos and there's rioting and whatever else going on. And you go, I'm going to get a good night's sleep and I'm going to leave first thing in the morning. That could be too late. That could be too late for you to get to where you want to go. So my advice would be, even if it's a false alarm, bug out, get to where you want to go, get down, or even if you take a couple of days off, okay? Um, don't forget replacement rooster. Well, actually, the Google account, what would happen, and I've talked about this before, I have incubators down here. And if SHTF hit tomorrow, right? SHTF hits tomorrow. The first 2 dozen eggs that I get moving forward that day, whatever they lay that day, up until I get the first 24 eggs, those are going in incubators. And I would be making more chickens right away. That would be the number one thing. Now, we have group members that also have chickens. Their game plan, obviously, is to bring their chickens down here as well. And collectively as a group, there's a defense plan in place for. Is there a defense plan in place for the property? Yeah, we have talked about that, and I won't go into details of what we would be doing or how we would be doing things, but there is a plan of how we would have to defend things and stuff like that. If you've noticed, like in the Upper Meadow, for an example, okay, what you got Jamie and Dawn's places here, Bud's place is over here, and then over here is Sandy's place. Are they really super far apart from each other? Not really. Okay. So if somebody was going after Bud's place, for an example, Jamie's right there. Okay. He can do something about it. Like where Rob is down here, he can look out his window and see Mark's place. Mark can look out his window and see Rob's place. And we got, somebody else is going to be right on the other side down there where Les is going to be building his place. Everybody's not super far apart. Actually, the farthest one apart from anybody is going to be Roy because he's on that edge. But to get to Roy's location, folks, where Roy is at, it's not like you can just walk down the path and there you are. You're going to have to go vertical to get to Roy. So he's on the top. I mean, you come down that little hill, but we own the high ground. We are the high ground. You go down, he's overlooking that ledge and he have that view to be seeing if anything's coming from that way. And I'm going to tell you, what's out that way? What Roy's view is, if he's looking out into the woods, it's woods. That's it. It's it's another valley going all the way down, and then it comes up the other side. Hey, Josh, thank you so much for the donation. Let's see what you said here. Have you done a video on reading a map? I have not, Josh. I have not done a video on that. That is um, something that people should be figuring that out. You know what I mean? I have always carried maps with me. I've always carried the atlas, so that I mean all the states and stuff like that. You should also have topical maps of your location, where you're at, and what's surrounding that. Where's water? Where's other resources that you may need? Excuse me, to utilize. Now, again, I think it's important when you're picking a bug out location. All right, if you say, okay, where do I want to be? So when I came down and decided I wanted to get out of New York State and then I wanted to come south. My initial thoughts was Kentucky and Tennessee. Okay. That was my initial in my head. I was thinking Kentucky, Tennessee. And I have a buddy of mine that lives in Washington, D.C. with his wife, and he owns property in West Virginia as well. And so he had said to me, he said, Ed, why don't you check out West Virginia? And I'll tell you guys, West Virginia was not on my radar at all. Not at all. Not never even crossed my mind. And so then he started listing off. Okay, very sparsely populated state, 1.7 million people in the whole state, okay, of West Virginia. So we're not talking about huge, densely populated areas where, in the state. So that's, you want to check that off. You don't want to be where there's a ton of people, okay? Then secondly, mountains. That was for me was one of the things that I wanted. I wanted to be higher elevation. That's one of my personal criterias. If you control the high ground, you're in a better position, to be able to do what you need to do to defend what you have. So for me, that was one of the criterias that in obviously they don't call it the mountain state for nothing. You know what I mean? There's nothing but mountains down here in West Virginia. You know, the other thing, the resources are here. There is water, natural springs, all those things. You need to have water. Water is life. So if you decide, hey, I want to have my bug out location in the middle of the desert in Arizona, you better figure out a plan, okay, on how you're going to have water. Because if it don't rain and it ain't monsoon season and SHTF happens, how you getting your water? All right, and you're going to go through some water. People may not think so, but you will go through some water. So you have to have your criteria of what you're looking for, where you want to be, um, all those type of things. So like I said, for me, I still like the four seasons. Not going to lie, I just don't like winter to last for 6 months. So with moving down into West Virginia, I still get the change of seasons, but winters are a lot more mild than they were ever going to be in New York State. So, that is, Ed, are those solar egg incubators in case of a grid down? I'm off grid, goes forest preparedness. So a grid down situation does not affect me at all. I will still have power. And, that's the other thing why, we want to have multiple people having solar down here so that we have options. So if something happens to my solar, right? Component breaks, something doesn't go right, then we go, oh crap, now we don't have any way to charge batteries, what any of those type of things. Redundancy, folks, multiples are really, really important. So if we have two, three, four people that have solar systems, like an example, Bud's planning on putting in quite a substantial solar system. So an example would be Jamie and Dawn say to Bud, well, hey, we're going to just buy, since you're already going to have this good big system, is it okay if we just add a couple batteries to your system and then run a line from there back to our place so that we can get, power? Um, that's something that they would have to work out, but it's an option, right? So Jamie and Dawn might not have to completely buy their own solar system, or they could pitch in, and give Bud a certain amount of money to say, hey, can we piggyback off of you if it's okay, and we'll give you XYZ amount. All those things got to be figured out between group members, and people got to talk. I mean, I don't think it's fair, in my opinion, just my opinion, that one guy pays for a whole bunch of stuff and then a whole bunch of other people take his power. That's not how it should be. But if they're buying their own batteries and saying, hey, can we just hook that up? And then when they come down, they could take their batteries and bring them in, and then they have them and they get them charged up. You know what I mean? So there's a lot to it. There's a lot that goes with it. But again, power is going to be really, really important, because you're going to want to be able. One of the things I always used to think about, all right, and this kind what back in when I first got, again, first early into prepping, I bought my first bug out location, and it was in a town called Avoca, New York. Out, it's the next town over from this town called Cohocton. Cohocton has probably 40 wind turbines, all owned by some Spanish company, producing power, that they're using. Okay. But I was on a side of a mountain in the middle of nowhere. I mean, the road into my property there was 1.2 miles. If it was wintertime in New York, you weren't driving in there. You would need a snowmobile to get in there. I mean, that's how isolated that area was. But one of the things that I figured out really, really early on, we built a 12 by 24 building on that property. And then I was so high up in the mountains that we had no water. And if you were down in the valleys in that mountain, people were hitting water at 40 feet. Okay. But where they were at down in this valley down here, I'm way up over here in this mountain part. You're looking at 400 or 500 feet to drill, which big money to get that well, right? So what we did is we set up rain catchment up there. That was my first rain catchment system I did. We built a room. And I can tell you what, psychologically, and this again, this is another thing that I don't think people take into consideration when they're preparing and stuff like that. Once we built that shower room, and it was a hot water on demand unit, um, your channel is one of the best on YouTube. Well, thank you, Josh. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I try to keep it real. I'm never going to BS you guys, and I think that's hopefully that comes through, and I'm trying to lead by example. I'm not just talking the talk, I'm walking the walk too. But once we got that shower room set up, hot water on demand unit, we went and got an RV pump to pump the water from the storage tanks in to be able to use that water. The first day that I'd been up there all day, sweating, dirty, nasty, and was able to walk in and take a hot shower, psychologically, you have no idea how awesome that is until you don't have it. Okay. So people don't appreciate things until they don't have them. And like I said, again, um, to be able to do that was just such a like, oh my God, this is awesome. I mean, it was awesome. And again, until you don't have something like that, the knees here, the swelling has gone down, and so I should be. I'm supposed to go back to work on Monday, so we'll see how it is. I was out today, and I did quite a bit of walking around today, and I did have the knee brace on, and so it definitely it's held up really good. I'm not in any pain, so we'll see how that all goes. But again, anyway, keeping things as normal as possible, that's also a key, because the more normal you can keep it. Now, granted, in a true SHTF situation, you're going to be walking around armed 24/7, right? You're going to be sleeping with probably a rifle and a pistol right with you at all times, loaded, ready to go. I mean, that's going to be the new reality. I wouldn't be sleeping with a fan on in a true HTF situation because I want to hear what's going on around me. I don't want the white noise then. I want to be able to be situationally aware of, is there danger? What do we got to do? Okay. But keeping, so you're not going to have internet, you're not going to have phone, you're not going to have TV, all that type of stuff. So that's an adjustment. But to be able to get up every day still, floss your teeth, brush your teeth, right? Wash up, being able to still do those things, being able to go out and have a regular meal because you've prepared for that. Do you have the utensils or whatever else you need to be able to do those things, to be able to take that hot shower, and all those type of things. Those things are huge and psychologically can make your life better. Yeah, is it going to be completely different from your reality right now? Yes, it would, but it would become the new normal. Okay. And instead of worrying about, you're by yourself or it's just you, your wife, and your kids, and you're in this chaos and everybody's in the same boat, fighting for food and just that's a nightmare waiting to happen. And that's what it's going to be. And that's why when they talk about in a true grid down situation for any extended period of time, they said within inside of 1 year, 90% of the population would be dead. And I don't think that that's an overestimation. I don't, because the fact that we are so pampered and so used to having all these different things, we're not ready to deal with not having them. And we're not prepared to not have them. So For us down here, with what we're trying to do, we want things to be as normal as it possibly can be. And so to be able to get up in the morning and go, okay, here's the project we're working on today. I need to do this, this, and this. We got to take care of the animals. We got to keep protecting the animals. You're going to be there's going to be somebody awake 24 hours a day. It's not like everybody goes to bed at night, wakes up in the morning, and goes, "Oh God, that was a great night's sleep, and we're doing fantastic." Somebody's always going to have to be on watch. So it's not going to be, oh, we're nothing to worry about. Everything is good. Now during the day when people are awake and they're out and about, that's a little bit different. Watch would be a little bit different, but when it's dark and it's nighttime, there's going to have to be people, excuse me, that are awake, ready to go, to do what they need to do. So, and to be able to warn others who are sleeping. So, again, um, Ed, and that's exactly if vehicles become disabled and people have to foot it. Yeah. Oh my God, people will quit. People will quit. They really will. Like I said, they're not mentally prepared. Number one, that's key. You, the will to live, folks, is so ingrained in all of us, and it is so strong that you will fight to try to live. But when you don't know what to do, when you have people that have no idea how to make a fire, no idea, oh, I'll just camp in the woods or whatever. They have no idea what they need to do just for basic survival short term, not even talking long term. Now, are there people out there that have those skills? And I mean, guys, all you have to do realistically, go watch a show like Alone. Okay. Go watch a show like Alone and how these are individuals that are survivalist type of people. That's what they do. There's now they're limited on what they can kill sometimes because this is endangered or that's endangered on the show. So there is limitations. And in a true SHTF situation, there ain't no limitations. You kill whatever you can kill to eat. I mean, that's that would be the way that would go. But again, and then you wouldn't be limited to just having a bow. So there would be adjustments. But these are people that have a skill. Like here's the rest of us here. All right. These people are way, way up here. And look what happens to them on that show. And again, psychologically, how do they react? How many times have you watched that show Alone and people quit, not because they couldn't do it anymore, but because they missed their families and they missed, what these people are there. They were missing all that and they couldn't sit there and go, I'm just going to gut it out and I'll be fine. They couldn't do it. Okay. Ed Girl in the Woods was on one of those shows, and she said it was very difficult. Oh yeah, no, her and her husband were on that. Yeah, and it's extremely difficult. And again, cycle, and they were doing a one with it was a couples. I think they had couples, but again, huge adjustment. So if you have Ed local grocery store had rigatoni on sale, 10 boxes for $10. I bought 20 boxes. They'll go in 5-gallon buckets with oxygen absorber, and just pack right next to the other 5-gallon bucket. There you go, Bob. That's the way to do it. You can catch those sales. That's you stock up. That's when you need to stock up. You know. Um, but again, you know, depending on what time of year an SHT event happens, that's going to make a big difference. SHTF happens in the middle of winter, folks. Okay. What you have to understand is a couple things. If you're in the Northeast, you ain't going anywhere because there's nowhere to go. There's no safe traveling. The next snowstorm that hits, nobody's coming to clean the roads or the sidewalks or any of that type of stuff. So you're going to be in your home. So here's, and I'm sure a lot of you guys on here that watch my channel, hopefully you're preparing and you're getting ready. Hopefully you have a decent amount of supplies in your home. But I want you to think of all those people that don't, right? That don't. They don't have a wood stove. They don't have firewood. They don't have. more than 2 weeks worth of food. If they're lucky, if they have a week's worth of food in their home. Now, first major snowstorm that hits, the whole grid's down, whatever the case may be. No plows are coming. Nobody's coming to dig you out. You're where you're at until spring, right? How many dead bodies are they going to find in houses come spring? They're going to find a lot. They're going to find a lot because, again, people are not ready. Now, if you grew up in the country and your lifestyle was that you have a pantry. I mean, I grew up with my grandparents. They always had a pantry. So I will tell you this, even before I officially became a prepper, I always had a stocked pantry. Not like I do now, but I always had a stocked pantry. So I probably could have gone, a couple of months maybe if I was lucky, back in the day because of what I already had. But the thing is, it's like, you know, that's just one aspect. Food is just one aspect of prepping, just one. There's so many things when it comes to preparedness that again, I'm always going to encourage you, sit down, make your lists. Lists are important because then you go, okay, here's where I'm at, right? Be your own harshest critic. Here's where I'm at. How long do I think that I can go from right now if something happened? What do I have? What can I do? Okay. And then take a good hard look at yourself and say, okay, what do I need to do to be where I want to be? And that's where you start. And you start working on your weak spots. When you have a power outage, right? If there's a power outage, happens to everybody. Where were you lacking? And those are free lessons right now that are not life and death. Those are free lessons for you to learn from, right? When you have a hurricane come into Florida or whatever, and there is, a week, 10 days, 2 weeks with no power, that's a learning lesson. Where was I lacking? What can I do to make it better for the next time? And learn from that. What was my mistakes? When you bug out, your trial run or whatever, and it's a false alarm, and now you go, okay, it wasn't a true SHTF. What did I forget? What do I need to change? What route would I take differently? All those things, those are all, like I said, right now when it's not life or death, that's when you need to figure it out, not afterwards. Well, I got all this stuff and I'm ready, right? If I had that mentality when I first started living off grid 10 years ago, my solar system never would have changed because I would have never had it hooked up. I would have been living off the power grid and had all this stuff thinking that I'm good to go and I'm ready and all that type of stuff. Instead of going, okay, I set up the solar system and all of a sudden really quickly realize we're going to do egg count in just a minute, guys. We will. Just give me a second. You're going to realize really quickly, man, this isn't enough. Wants and needs always comes down to wants and needs. How comfortable do you want to be? What do you need to have to survive? And what do you want to have to survive? Could you live on, just give you an example. Could you live on having 2 eggs a day for breakfast? Or would it be better, right, if you had 4 eggs a day for breakfast to give you that extra energy so that you can do what you got to do until lunchtime? What would be better, right? We're going to be burning a whole lot more calories. And 2,000 calorie recommendation per day doing normal stuff. That's not doing all the extra. So you might actually want to be thinking of, do I want to have 4,000 to 5,000 calories a day to be able to have the energy to replace the energy that I'm burning calories wise to do what I got to do? All right. So on that note, we're going to do this real quick. Don't go do an account yet. We're at 280 in the chat. We got 160 thumbs ups. I'm going to ask you to please shoot a thumbs up yet first if you have not done so yet, and I thank you ahead of time. It makes a huge difference with the algorithms, so I thank you for that reason as well. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well, and I thank you ahead of time. Also, how many eggs today? And yes or no for Miss Betty White. So we'll get your guesses in starting now. And I'm going to get a drink first before anybody does anything. So I'll give you guys a moment to get your guesses in, and we will go from there. But again, guys, having a game plan is number one. That's a number one key aspect of prepping. Having that game plan, knowing what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and then it's putting that plan in action. And I'm going to tell you what, for me personally, peace of mind is so huge. It is so huge. And I'm trying to look at things from a perspective. I'm trying to avoid problems before they ever become problems in a group dynamic. So we have a group down here, right? So we want everybody to be able to get along with no problems. So, we're trying to get everybody on this playing field. If you don't want to be on this playing field here, you want to be down here, you're not going to be in this group because everybody needs to be here because then nobody can say, well, I did this and they didn't do that. Why should I help them? You don't want that kind of thing right from the very beginning in a situation. All right, so we have a yeah, Rob can't guess tonight because he already knows the answer. Multi all-time winner of the egg count guesses. DJ once again was first with the correct answer today with 3 eggs. And yes, for Miss Betty White. So congratulations. It's got to be close to 15 wins, I think, or more for DJ. I swear the guy wins so much with the egg count. So congratulations to DJ. Once again, you've won absolutely nothing, but you are happy about it. It's rigged, Omelette Design said. Hey, he does very well. He's quick. He gets his thing in there really fast, and a lot of times he's right. So DJ, yep, I was feeling lucky tonight. That's too funny. But yeah, 3 eggs today. And I even said to him, I go, you lazy. Now, yesterday, I will tell you what, yesterday, 1 egg yesterday. Yesterday was one. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? So, but yeah, they're too funny. But yeah, DJ wins a lot. I don't even know how many wins that is for DJ, but it's got to be 15 plus. And nobody else is even close. I mean, nobody else is even close. So, but oh, too funny. But anyway, guys, getting back, and we've actually stayed on topic this entire time tonight, which has been it's a rarity. It is a rarity, number one. So, but you know, do the best you can. I will tell you that I think that that is so important. Don't ever give up. Um, don't ever give up. If you give up, then you've already lost. Don't get overwhelmed. That's another thing I will encourage you. Do not get overwhelmed. Even if you can't do a lot, if you're doing a little at a time, you're doing something. Okay. That's important. That is important. So I should create a spreadsheet logging my wins. Yeah, right. Dude, it's got to be DJ. It's got to be 15. It's got to be. It's got to be at least that. I mean, we had what 3 or 4 live streams in a row where he was the winner. I mean, I remember, and then he just keeps banging them out. So, but someone took one of my chickens. I hope they are enjoying it because if they come back for another one, they'll be dodging freedom seeds. Yeah, that's the one thing that again, predators. Um, you're going to contend. Let's talk about predators for a second, all right? Let's talk about predators as something that people don't think about. True SHTF situation happens. Think about all the wonderful little doggies that are out there in the world, and everybody, a lot of people have dogs, right? Things go sideways, their owner's now dead. That dog gets outside and gets out of that yard or pen or wherever they're at. What are they going to do? They're going to pack up with other dogs, and it's going to go back to that pack mentality to feed, to live. Okay. And what do you become in that type of situation? You can become the prey. I mean, I don't care how good you think you are, but if there's a pack of 15 to 20 dogs, good sized dogs, okay, like Hella, think about her and another 12 just like her. grouping up as a pack, that'd be a very formidable force to go up against. Very formidable. And they would lose their fear really, really quickly, especially hunger would drive them. So, you have to think about those things as well. We are so used to being the apex predator because of the different advantages with guns and everything else that we have. Um, people don't think about desperation and being, psychologically not 100% and not getting enough sleep and all those type of things. And animals are just going to be animals. That's what they are going to do. They're going to do what they're going to do. So, not only are you going to have to worry about other human beings that are going to try to take what you have and what all that type of stuff, you got to think about the other animals, the other predators that are going to be out there in nature. So, but if SHT happens, I will liberate all the German Shepherds from shelters and add them to my pack. I already have two. Oh, yeah. Oh, like I said, I'm going to breed her. When she goes into heat this fall, I am absolutely breeding her. I have somebody that I work with. He has a German Shepherd. We've already had them over, and we're going to breed them. And I am keeping at least two of her puppies. That I will tell you right now. Guaranteed, I'm keeping at least two of her puppies. She is the very best dog I have ever had in my entire life. Okay. She's the best dog I've had in my entire life. And I want some of her offspring to carry on once she's gone. And so, yeah, and that's how you do it. You know what I mean? It's like, so what her temperament is. I know how smart she is. And, she is just like I said, she is absolutely the very best dog that I've ever had in my entire life. So, why would you not want to have more just like her? You know what I mean? And obviously, if she has puppies, they're not going to be just like her, but they will be coming from her stock, and that's to me that's important. And you're going to want to have protection dogs because dogs have way better hearing than we do, and their job even like with her now. Like I'll give you an example. When Steve comes down and hangs out, he sits over on the couch. You know what she does when Steve now like any other time, she could be back in her bed sleeping, whatever the case may be. If Steve's here or anybody else is here, she's right here on the floor, right in front of me. All right. And you may think she's just laying there sleeping and she's being a good dog. But what she's doing is she's putting herself between me and whoever could be a perceived threat. That's her job. And that's what she does. And she does it instinctively. Instinctively. She just knows her job is to protect me. That's her job. And she will do that. And she will do everything in her power, including giving up her life to keep me safe. And that's, what kind, she's a German Shepherd. She's a German Shepherd. So, but like I said, and think about this: if it's a true SHTF situation, having dogs like that are going to make a huge difference because again, like now, people aren't going to come back here being stupid because they know not only am I here, she's here. You know what I mean? And so you get that reputation of who you are, what kind of animals you have. If I had a couple of ankle biters back here, okay, Paul and Barbara, great people, part of my group. They got a couple animal ankle biters. Nice dogs, great dogs, companionship dogs, but they ain't protecting squat. Realistically, they're not going to throw themselves at the predator and go, I'm going to slow this person down. They're not. That's not the kind of dogs that they are. But you know, I I've always liked big dogs. That's just my personal preference. I had a neighbor that had a pug. One of the ugliest dogs you ever want to see in the world is a pug. Their dog loved me, and I loved that stupid little dog. It was, but I'd come up to the fence and I'd call the dog's name was Boogers. And I'd say, Boogers, get over here. And that dog would come running, and I would always give it treats and pet it. But it was, it was a good dog. But again, in reality, it becomes a liability, not an asset. And I've always tried to be forward thinking things go sideways, she's got a job and she knows what she needs to do. So, yeah, my cats are bigger than their ankle biters. Yeah, exactly. And cats are important too. And I want you guys to think about this too. True SHTF situation, the last thing you want to have to worry about is critters, mice, rats, whatever the case may be, getting into your food stores because they can wreak havoc on your food stores in that type of situation. So, what you got to do is if you have cats, their job, like the cats that I had in New York, I had indoor, outdoor cats, their job, we didn't have mice, chipmunks, rats, nothing. Birds even stayed away because they killed everything, but that's their job. That's their job. And so, you know, they bring you the heads and dead bodies and all that type of stuff, and they're showing you they're doing their job. And that's what you're going to want to have. I mean, I want to get cats down here again eventually. I love cats anyway. So I definitely want to have cats. But again, animals are important, but they serve a purpose. That's the other thing you got to realize. Just like the chickens. I love the chickens. Chickens are a lot of fun, but they have a job. Their job is to provide me with not only meat if I need meat, but also eggs on a daily basis. That's their job. And so SHTF comes, we're going to have several different chicken coops down here so that all of our eggs are not in one basket, so to speak. So those are things to think about. Again, it's all planning, folks. It's thinking about things, using your common sense. And I'm going to leave you on this note, okay? At the end of the day, it always comes down to a couple things: wants and needs. What do I want, right? Would I love to have something set up beautiful down here, completely done and ready to go? Yes, I would love that. But what do I need? What are my basic needs to be able to survive long term and be okay? And that comes down to food, shelter, water, those basic things, medical supplies, in case somebody gets hurt, all those type of things. So those are really, really important things. So some things to think about, some food for thought. I hope this live stream has helped some of you guys, but keep a positive mental attitude. Realize if you have a game plan, you know what you're going to do and you know where you're going to go. It gives you that psychological advantage over a lot of people that are going to be walking around clueless. And a lot of people are not going to make it because they're going to become victims, or they're going to make a stupid mistake and it's going to cost them their life. Don't be that person. Have that game plan. Be as ready as you possibly can be. I hope you all have a great night. And again, I will be live streaming on Sunday at 8 p.m. We got a busy day tomorrow. We'll probably be busy in the morning on Sunday as well. So please be safe. Take care of your business. And I will talk to you all later. Prepper Nurse One out for now.